Now we're going to get started on talking about some of our administrative policies, record keeping, reporting, just kind of some more logistical stuff you guys are going to need to know for this job. So would someone mind reading that for me? Any brave soul? Yes, ma'am. Awesome, thank you. Fun fact, I can read, but I just like y'all to do it sometimes. But that's good. So we fall under the Office of Student Success as TLS, and the high quality comprehensive services portion, that is what you guys are providing, right? Whether you're an SI leader, a peer assistant, a tutor in the library or in the math learning center, a writing consultant, those all go into that high quality comprehensive service kind of component that this mission statement is talking about. So on the agenda for this presentation, I'm going to be giving you guys a professional staff overview. So just getting you kind of familiar with kind of the hierarchy of who works here. You'll see some pictures and stuff of people you're going to see around. That way you know who you can ask questions, just how to find the right person, get the right information that you need. I'll give you some intro into the programs that we offer, our different part-time staff roles. I'm also going to talk about how we work. So again, that's that logistical component I talked about. So all of our policies, procedures, generally just how things run. And then going forward, just some information that you'll need to know about training and CRLA. Yeah. The Office of Student Success, some of these people may look familiar already. First in line is Dr. Andrew Johnson. So that's my boss's boss's boss. So Dr. Andrew Johnson is the Associate Vice President of Student Success. And then next is Dr. Sperry, who just spoke to you guys a few moments ago. So she is steering this whole ship. She's the Director of College Readiness and Academic Support. So she's the one in charge of TLS. And then there is Mr. Garcia. So he is the Assistant Director of Tutoring and Learning Services. So yeah, if you have any questions, definitely Mr. Garcia is a good person to go to. If your coordinator, cannot answer that as well, might be, the best place to start. Also, all you guys are going to have some sort of mentor or lead as well. So like for SI, you guys are going to have 2 SI mentors. Tutors, you guys are going to have a tutor lead. We'll go into who those people are in a second. There's also Amy Tucker, who works right down the hall. So she is an administrative coordinator here. TLS coordinators. So again, you were already introduced to both these people. There's Sarah Pons in the Writing Center and Jess Houseladen in the library, who is in charge of SI and tutors. The Math Learning Center. So Math Learning Center is located just across the hall in this building. And so these are the people who help run that show. So we have Habib and Presley are the graduate assistants. And then Dr. Roden is the associate professional professor. So they make sure everything runs smoothly. They're in the Math Learning Center. Are any of you guys working in the Math Learning Center this semester? Cool. Okay, a few of y'all. Okay, Habib, you've been there. But yes, if you have any questions, you can ask any of these people. And then for academic coaching, you also just met Brittany Salinas. So she is the Assistant Director of Academic Coaching. So if you have any questions related to that, you can ask her as well. Next, now we're getting into some of our leads. So how many of you guys are tutors or writing consultants? Okay, a few more hand raises. Cool, y'all. So if you are a writing consultant, there's Emily Moon. She's our writing center lead. The writing center is just down the hall at the end of the hallway. And then Blaze Lewis is going to be the tutor lead. So he works in the office right near my desk in the library. And then he, kind of walks around the learning commons and stuff as well. So you'll be able to find him if you have any questions. And then our other program leads, we have Nasana and Alyssa are both of our SI mentors. So if you're an SI leader, again, I think you get the gist. These are the people you ask if you have any questions or concerns you need to know about they're a really good resource if you need any kind of advice on how to do your job. And then David is our new peer assistant mentor. We don't have his picture yet. So at least one of these people should look familiar to you because he's talking to you right now. These are our training leads. Again, you have pictures of us all over the place. So any questions, do not hesitate to ask. This is our data and technology team. We have John, San Juanita, and Joe. I've been told that at every kind of competition or whatever, Joe always wins a prize. That's all the lore I really know about him. But just beware, if you're trying to win anything against him, you're probably going to lose. But
Joe, we only contacted, well, you contact them to us. If there's ever an issue with TrackCloud or anything that's going on like that, that's when I say, you know, we need to call Joe because TrackCloud is not working or something happens with our software. Now, when it comes to hardware, like let's say one of our machines in the front desk or one of our TLS computers is not working, then we speak to SJ. And SJ, she's the one that's responsible for all of our hardware in our area. And John is their supervisor. He's our director. So he also sees everything that goes into TrackCloud. So if as SI mentors or as tutors or consultants, you're writing in notes about what you're doing with your students, all that information gets fed into Starfish, and he's the one that manages all that transition and making sure that all these programs talk to each other.
I'm getting close so the mic picks you up, not because I'm being creepy.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so yeah, so these are all the people who make sure that our technology stays running and we can keep track of all of our data. So as I've alluded to, we have a few different job titles just here in this room. So we have tutors and writing consultants. They operate in kind of a similar format where it's typically one-on-one, occasionally small group kind of setting. They do both walk-ins and appointments. I know writing consultants do online consultations as well via Zoom. So yeah, and tutors work in the library, writing consultants work just down the hall. SI leaders and the peer assistants, it's also kind of another thing that's similar in the way that they're structured. And that they meet in more group settings. They have to have kind of a lesson plan going in to their meetings. The main difference between like peer assistance and supplemental instruction is that peer assistance is a little bit more built into the curriculum, and there's more of a set meeting time that students are responsible for going to. Whereas SI is more the SI leader kind of dictates their schedule based on when the students say they're available. So there's a little bit of a distinction there. It's not as like heavily built into the course, but it's still there if students need any help. We also have our program and training leads, our graduate assistants, who just kind of help manage all these different roles and kinds of technology and things we're responsible for. And then our office assistants are responsible for signing people in and out, all of our various tutoring centers, and just welcoming people, greeting people, answering questions. So our programs, these are our main centers, these three right here. So we have the Learning Commons in the library. It's in the very kind of back corner when you go in the front door and veer kind of to the right. So that's where people meet, generally one-on-one. Also, SI leaders are able now to reserve some of the back meeting rooms in the Learning Commons to hold some of their sessions. The rooms probably hold, like I would say, about 6 to 8 people, depending on the room. So that is available if you want to reserve that. Just let the office assistant know in the Learning Commons ahead of time. And then, of course, always let your students know where you're going to be meeting. There's also the Writing Center, as I've said a few times, in the back corner over there, and then the Math Learning Center just across the hall. And the Math Learning Center does offer both appointment-based meetings and also does function like a math lab where you can just drop in for help and then leave once you get the help that you need. And then SI programs, content-ready sessions that follow the course topics. So SI is optional, peer assistance is built into the course. So these are our fall and spring hours generally. It's going to depend where exactly you're working. So of course, in the Learning Commons, because it is in the library, we have to, adhere more or less to the library schedule. But the Learning Commons are going to be open Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then Friday, everything is open from 10 to 2. For the Writing Center and Math Learning Center, those are open Monday through Thursday from 10 to 5. So how we work. Make sure that your I-9 is turned in within 3 days after your hiring date. So hopefully you guys, most of you have already done this or are working on it. If you have any questions about that, ask your coordinator about it if you're not sure. And you can also contact Maria Pedigo with any questions as well. So our policies and procedures. So we just want to make sure that we are following and adhering to the code of conduct, drug and alcohol policy. Don't show up wasted at work. That would not be good. Workplace visitors policy, equipment policy. Essentially, a lot of this is going to be common sense, right? Just take care of our equipment, respect our equipment, follow whatever instructions are given to you by your coordinator. If you're borrowing anything, don't do anything crazy on the job. A lot of this is also going to be, very similar to the student code of conduct that you have to follow as a TAMUCC student. Just make sure you're being accurate on your timesheet. You're submitting it in a timely manner. We'll get to what that means exactly in a second. Don't have any excessive absences. Let them know ahead of time if you're going to have to miss. Just try to keep everyone informed. And like I said, just don't do anything crazy. Procedures, you're going to have an evaluation process where your coordinator, your lead are going to kind of evaluate you throughout the semester, especially more towards middle and end of the semester. Just give you feedback on how you're performing in your job. Complaint procedure, just be sure if there is an issue, let your lead know, let your coordinator know, and try to get it resolved as early as possible. Disciplinary process, hopefully we won't have to go down that path, but it does start with a verbal warning and then can progress to a written warning and then termination. Hopefully we don't have that problem. Performance expectations. So of course we strive to be inclusive, don't discriminate against anyone. So always try to be respectful of everyone. Confidentiality agreements, that's going to be definitely one of the most important things of all your jobs, is adhering to FERPA, which Diego is going to talk about more specifically in a moment here. But we always want to maintain confidentiality because we are dealing with sensitive information. We ask that you guys maintain a TAMUCC GPA of 3.0 or above. So just please make sure you're good to go there. Session documentation. Just be sure that you're staying on top of whatever paperwork is necessary for your job. I know like for tutors and writing consultants, they're responsible for just taking down some notes and on what happened throughout each appointment and kind of what topics were covered, and inputting that information on the track cloud after every appointment. And then like SI leaders are responsible for creating a lesson plan and submitting that to their leads on a timely manner. So just be sure whatever kind of paperwork is needed for your job that you're keeping up with it. And then you are not expected to be a content expert, right? Most everyone in here is, student, but you are more expected to just be a supplemental resource, right? The professors are the content experts, your supplemental resource. So what that means is, of course, we don't want to be giving out wrong information, but if there's something that you don't know, either tell the student, I'm not sure about that, let's find out together and try and get to the right answer together, or refer the student out to the professor and advise them to go to office hours or just direct them to the right place. So our team cultures, these are just kind of some different values and stuff that we try to uphold. Servant leadership and lifelong learning, probably two of the most important ones, right? So especially the lifelong learning piece kind of goes very hand in hand with the tutoring, because we're trying to provide people support, not just in the moment for the individual assignment that they're struggling with, but we want to try and model like good behaviors so that way they can go and apply a lot of the techniques we show them independently in the future. So it doesn't really help them if we just give them the answer in the moment. We want to teach them how to go and apply it, for the rest of the semester, and then hopefully, throughout their lives, ideally. We try to be approachable, camaraderie, cultural exchange, so just learning from each other, right, and collaborating. It's a foundational workplace experience. This is probably, if not your first job, one of your earlier jobs that you're ever going to have. So we try to just, have these kinds of professional development things like we're having right now, to try to get you used to that kind of foundational workplace type of environment. TrackCloud. So you guys might have heard this word before. This is going to be the main program that tutors and writing consultants are going to be using day to day in their job. I know that like peer assistants and SI leaders are also responsible for submitting a few things related to their schedule in TrackCloud as well. So your coordinators and your leads should communicate more to you about specifically what's expected. But essentially, TrackCloud is going to show you your schedule when you're going to be working. And if you know that there's going to be an issue where you're going to be late or you're going to have to miss, let your coordinator know as soon as possible. And TrackCloud also stores information about your appointment details, such as the topic, the time, and for tutors and writing consultants, it's where you will submit your session notes. And if you're maybe meeting with a repeat client, you can go and look at your past session notes to remind yourself what you last worked on. Sometimes that's helpful. It can also say ahead of time what the student is needing help with. If you're a tutor and you look at your upcoming appointments, you might be able to see what content area they're struggling with, so you know what to prepare for in advance. So again, if your schedule needs changing, please reach out as soon as possible. And then depending on what your role is, there's going to be a different number of minimum hours that you're expected to work. In the writing center, that would be 9. For tutors, that would be 6. And then for SI, and that should say EA for peer assistants, that's going to be approximately 12. And then for everybody, it's a maximum of 19 hours per week. So Workday, have any of you guys used Workday yet? A few of you? Okay, we have a few returning people as well, so maybe that was a cheaty question. But if you have not used Workday, this might be a helpful link to take a picture of or bookmark, because you're going to be using that quite often. So essentially, Workday is where we submit our hours so we get paid. Do any of you guys like getting paid? That's good. I do too. So this is where you'll do it if you would like to be paid. So essentially, it's a little bit different than maybe the way some other workplaces do it, where you just like swipe in and out with a card and it automatically calculates your hours. We're responsible for doing that manually, where we punch in. If you're working 15 hours a week, then you'll have to go in there and punch in how many hours you're working each day, and then we submit that every other week. And so it says on your Workday little calendar thing when the time period ends. You'll know when to submit, and then generally that your coordinator is going to ask that you do that a couple days ahead of time. So they'll be keeping you informed about when you need to go ahead and submit your Workday hours. So it is important because not properly tabulating your hours and submitting things on time can affect your pay. So you just want to make sure that you're being as accurate as possible and submitting things in a timely manner so there aren't any delays or any issues. And if you did make a mistake on your Workday, just be sure to let your coordinator know as soon as possible so that can be corrected. So at this link, you'll also be able to see all of your past timesheets. You'll be able to set up your direct deposit information. You'll be able to see a lot of your tax information, things like that. So it's pretty useful. Also on this sso.tamu link, whenever you click it, it's going to appear like this. So you are going to hit that one that's highlighted in yellow for A&M Corpus Christi, how you get to the right place. And then whenever you are, whenever you click that link, you're going to be brought to this page. And then pretty much the only buttons that I've ever had to use are these two highlighted in yellow. So Workday is the one for pay that I just discussed. And then TrainTrack is the other one where you will be required to do some training. So quick distinction between TrainTrack trainings and the trainings that we're doing now. They are different. TrainTrack is the training that everybody in the Texas A&M system has to complete as an employee of that system, right? So it's just kind of a more general kind of training for being an employee there at a university. You'll have to do. So it's, I'm trying to think kind of what topics on there. So stuff like Title IX, FERPA reporting, any issues that arise, stuff about like not discriminating, sexual harassment training, drug and alcohol policy, kind of general stuff everyone needs to know as an employee. And so that is different from the training we're doing right now. That's for getting you certified as a tutor or a peer educator. So just be sure you're aware of that difference. So this is generally what TrainTrack is going to look like. It's going to pop up with all of the trainings that you're going to be responsible for completing. Just try it as they come in, just try to do them as soon as you can. And then Workday, this is how that will appear. And when you hit that menu button, there's going to be a little button that says My Time, like that. So you hit that, and it will bring you to a menu like this where you can enter in all the hours that you've worked. And then when it's time to submit it, you'll hit Review. It will ask you to confirm that the number of hours are correct, and you'll submit your hours to your coordinator.
Today is the deadline for the first time sheet. I wasn't expecting it. I thought we would get away with next time it's due. But if you want to get some practice, this will be the perfect time for you to do. Once you can log in, some of y'all may have some issues. So that's the reason why I was kind of like, no. But if you have issues, no big deal. We will get these hours paid to you. But this will give you an opportunity to sign in and see how the system works, and we can start submitting your. We, as far as coordinators and myself, will keep track of those that we still need to address the following pay periods to make sure that you're getting all of the pay that's appropriate. Okay.
So any questions on TrainTrack or Workday so far? All right, y'all are a quiet group. Okay, so going forward, next steps, just be sure you are staying on top of all these things listed here. So your TrainTracks, especially if you're brand new, you know, as a university employee, you're going to have a lot of these to go through on your first few days. So just be sure, you know, to prioritize getting those done. So you have to do them if you want to work here. And then periodically, you're still going to have these popping up. You know, I've worked here like for 2.5 years, and I still have one pop up every now and then. So just be sure when they pop up that you get them done. The sooner the better. And then CRLA training. So what we're doing right now. So this is the pre-semester training. And then, like I mentioned, you are still going to be responsible this semester for 4 in-semester trainings. And so we'll be reaching out to you guys with more details about when you're supposed to meet us. And then if you are an SI leader or a peer assistant, we are going to be sending out a when to meet next week. So that's like a program where you can input all the hours you're available. So as soon as you know what your schedule is going to be and when you're meeting with your students for your SI meetings or your PA meetings, then please fill out the when to meet that we send out so we know when to schedule all your trainings based on when everyone's available. That would help us out big time. So you'll be getting that link from us pretty soon here. And then meetings with coordinator. So your coordinator is going to regularly be scheduling meetings with you guys just to go over logistical stuff, going on in the workplace, keeping you informed about stuff you need to know. So just be sure that you're attending those because they are important and they are mandatory. And then observations. So TLS management is going to regularly assess how you're doing. So just be ready for that and just try to, throughout the semester, be practicing good habits in your job and ask questions if you're not sure how to do something. So that way you're ready to go for the observations. They're not that scary. Just make sure you're taking care of everything you need to take care of. So our dress code. So TLS asks that you wear kind of smart casual type clothing and wear your name tag while you're on the job. So if you're brand new, you should be getting that pretty soon here. So essentially for tops, we ask stuff like t-shirts, button downs, blouses, and then for bottoms, we just ask for appropriate type pants, whether they're jeans, chinos, chino shorts, capris, whatever your thing is. Just make sure that they're appropriate in nature. For shoes, we ask for closed-toed shoes, so just be mindful of that. Just essentially don't wear anything inappropriate or profane with anything that's kind of not really appropriate for the workplace. Be mindful of that. And that's kind of the photo that we have of some of our former workers if you want an example. Here are some more examples of employees we got to model for us. Yeah, any questions on the dress code? Y'all share? Okay, y'all seem true. So for resources, so whether you're a tutor, SI leader, you might need some form of equipment to fulfill your job duties. So some of the possible needs that we have would be stuff like paper, pencils, markers. So if you need any of that stuff, or if you run out of it in the center that you're working in, you can talk to the office assistant that's working in that center, or the lead who's in charge of your job role, or your coordinator, if any of those things are going to be a problem. If you need help with TrackCloud help or assistance or any meeting information, your coordinator is also a good person to ask, and your lead or mentor is going to be another good person to ask. If it's something subject related, like I mentioned, you guys are supplemental resources, not necessarily content experts. So there's inevitably going to be stuff that you don't know about. And also sometimes students will ask stuff like pertaining like to the actual professor's like class requirements, right? So you might know the subject material, but you don't know specifically maybe what font the professor prefers or logistical stuff about the class. And so if it's anything that you can't answer, don't hesitate to refer them back to their professor. If you have any issues with a student or with a coworker, bring that to the attention of your coordinator or the assistant director as soon as possible so that can be resolved. And then if you have any questions on training or anything about CRLA that you're not sure about, don't hesitate to contact one of the 3 trainers, and we should be getting a 4th pretty soon here. So if you have any doubt, please ask. So any questions on anything that I went over? All right. Well, that is it for this portion. Next up is Diego. I think we're going to take a short break here because we're a little bit ahead of time. So
For those of you who have not signed in, please do so. We have a line in the front.
sorry, sir.